Welcome in, everyone, to episode 5 of Who's Together podcast. I am your co-host, Lauren Moses, here with
Um,
my bestie.
Quin Blanding, and I'm in the car with it today.
Got to change up the scenery just a little
Yeah,
bit, But we are happy this week, Quinn, right? Because we got a
we're happy.
win. We're going to be
We're
talking about
happy.
UVA football. We're going to be talking about some of the things that I've been hearing just, in the comments and just in general in the college sports world of just misconceptions of athletes.
Yeah,
And then Quinn got to chat it up with a former teammate.
I did. It was great. It was good, and we'll tell you a little bit about it later. We're just gonna say we chopped it up with a former alumni that's doing very well right now for himself. So we're gonna get to that in a little bit, but yeah. So now let's get into this episode today.
Let's do it.
Like you said, you've been reading the comments, and this misconception of like a college athlete.
Yeah.
And let's start on your take of it because I mean, of course, you played basketball at UVA, and women's basketball is kind of looked upon. It's kind of like downplayed, and it's not really supported to the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not at like the elite level, like playing at like the elite level, winning championships and all that, etc. So,
Yeah.
like, what is your thoughts on that? And I mean, from the comments you've been reading, I know we talked about it, but what are some of like the comments and like how do you feel about it?
Yeah. So, like, in regards to your first point, being a female athlete in general, whatever sport that a woman is playing, it's usually just not highly regarded as the men's sport. And so from that aspect, I just can remember when I was playing at UVA, and it was just like this conception that we don't do as much as the men do, even though our programs, whether that was lifting, whether that was conditioning, whether that was treatments, practice schedules, we ran our practices, like literally the guys would start practice or they would go into practice and we have already started practice. They would come out of practice and we're still practicing. And they would be like, you guys like practice for 3 hours? And it's like, yeah, we do. We do all of the same work as the men, which I think obviously comes into conversations when you talk about salary pay gaps and things like that on the professional level between men and women. But in general, I feel like misconceptions that college athletes get, especially at the University of Virginia, is like they don't care about academics, or
Yeah.
they don't they don't understand how important academics is because their sport is first and da da da. But I feel like at Virginia, we were always held to the standard of academics comes first. In my
Absolutely.
household, I had to make sure that I had great grades in order for me to
Yeah.
even attend a practice, let alone play a game.
Yeah.
For you, Quinn, can you remember any misconceptions as a football player? Because that even adds in like a little wrinkle, because they just they a lot of people say that football players don't care about academics.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I get it. And, it's just that notion of just saying, I'm going to play college ball to make it to the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's everyone's livelihood is to say, as a kid growing up, you train all these hours since whatever age you started, or even if you started later than most, the dreams is just going to play in the NFL, and like no one has a plan after the NFL. No one ever thinks about what I want to do after the NFL. Everyone's just saying, oh, I'm gonna go to the NFL, I'm gonna make a lot of money, I'm gonna start this business, start that business, X, Y, and Z. And so, that misconception there is just like, we're just jocks. Like we're just
Yeah.
people who, you know, just want to play, a barbaric sport and just say, hey, it is what it is. I'm going to get paid for doing what I love to do. And so, that's just, that's what it comes with the territory.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory. And, but, for me, it's just like, I'm glad that I went back my junior year or my senior year and got my degree, because now it landed me in places that like I never knew I could be.
Yeah.
Like I'm in medical sales. Like I never thought in a million years I'd be here. So I thought, like, most, you know, I'm gonna play in NFL for a long time. I'm gonna make a lot of money. I'm gonna get that, monthly check for being, passing those 3 years,
Yeah.
just to get my benefits. But it's just like I'm blessed that I've changed that narrative of just being an athlete. But
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to. It's just in your mind, it's just all you know is sports, sports, sports.
And
And
that
so,
brings me to my next point,
yeah,
because you can't fault someone for feeling that way if that's
Yeah.
all they know, especially people who might not have had a great support system coming up and they are
Yeah.
just thrown into a sport or thrown into an activity and they're told you need to go out and be the best at this thing so
Mhm.
that you can make money at some point and, make a living for yourself.
Mhm.
So, when it comes to judgment, I just always feel like you don't know what people have gone through. You don't know what their upbringing was like. But I think that the University of Virginia was a great space for if you didn't know that going into it, there was someone in your ear telling you like, hey, you're more than this athlete, you're more than this
Yeah.
game, you're more than this sport. But
But
another
it also to that point, it's how you take it too as an athlete. Like, you know, we get judged a lot regardless. I mean, especially going to the University of Virginia, they just think we got in because we were just talented,
yeah,
like to play a sport.
yeah,
But we also, yes, we have to be talented, but we also have to have the grace to get into the University of Virginia.
yes.
I've sat behind the scenes of recruiting and seen, what we can get into that university, and I've seen what we can't get in. Even
Yeah.
if you have all the talents in the world, I've seen you still have to have a certain level of academics to get into the school.
And just like regular students, like you
Yeah,
can't just have good grades and not have anything else like
literally.
from high school, no community service or no extracurricular activities or no story, right? Because you still have to write letters, you still have to write essays, and you're still
Yes.
putting something else forward aside from your grades. And as an athlete, we're still doing that. We're doing it in raising money for this university.
Yeah.
And so obviously you can go back and forth all day about it, but I
Yeah.
just think that there are so many misconceptions about college athletes and just like you said, kind of just being jocks, some of them.
Yeah.
And
That's just
don't get me wrong,
sure.
there are people who do not care about academics, athletes who don't. But I don't think it should be something to knock athletes for.
Yeah. I don't think so either because you gotta think these people spend more than 1,000 hours. I'm just saying 1,000 hours because it's easy just to say 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
It's times 10 of that hours, times 1,000 of those hours. Like we've been doing this since we were young kids. Yeah,
It's always going to be taken differently because of perspectives, right?
yeah,
Everybody's perspective is different. If you have never been able to wear this person's shoes, I don't know how you can speak
yeah. I
so
don't know
so
either.
so much about it, and be so passionate about it. But we have better news and better things to talk about because we got a win this week.
We
UVA
did.
football, let's clap it up.
Woo! I was scared at first.
UVA football. Well, let's
I
get
was
it.
scared at
Let's get it.
first.
So UVA football is now 3-4.
Yeah,
They had a okay offensive, okay, special teams, but their defense. It was their
yeah,
defense recording 8 sacks.
yeah.
So that total surpassed the program history.
Hmm.
And they beat Georgia Tech 16-9. And
Yeah.
you started off saying that you were scared at first. What were you scared about?
It got rough in the beginning. I mean, we had because I think they were up at one point on us. I think they're like
Yeah.
early in the game,
It
they
was
were
an
up on us.
interception.
Yeah, pick six, and it was like they threw a pick, we threw a pick. They threw a pick, we threw a pick six, and it's like here we go. And it's like, but it's only like it's it's like you were just like, man, like what is going on? Like
Hmm.
it wasn't adding up. It wasn't making sense. I think personally, like I think we did have a improvement, but I don't think we are still where we need to be. I think like
No.
defense wise, like I give those guys credit. They played their tails off. They played with energy. They started to find the identity. I don't think it's truly there yet as a defense, but it's coming. Because, we look at Georgia Tech. I mean, I know they were coming off a 2-game winning streak. They played tough against some opponents. I think they beat Duke, who we
Yep.
lost to.
Yep.
And so, just seeing how they are, but it's just like mano y mano, we're better.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, we're better than what we truly showed and played with. And so I think that's the part I'm really sad about is because like we literally like were mano y mano with them.
Yeah.
Like we played down to their level. I
Yeah.
wanted to see us really like open our offense up, like have our defense play how they play, but go a little step further. Like, I mean, yeah, we had 8 sacks, but get into the real logistics of things. Their offensive line was terrible. They were playing with like I don't know what backup quarterback. He's been to like 20 different schools, I feel like at this rate. But it's just like, then I seen a press conference after for that last play he ran out of bounds. The
Georgia
quarterback
Tech
said,
quarterback.
yeah, Georgia Tech's quarterback when he ran out of bounds, he said I couldn't even throw it past 60 yards. Like so, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
expected us to like kind of once I seen their starting quarterback go down, which he's really good. I like him as a quarterback there for Georgia Tech, and I think he's, changing that program around. But
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were just gonna go in and we was just gonna steamroll. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just one of those games you look forward to, like going to the season, like they're gonna play tough, but it's like
I think
our
it needed. I think it's baby steps, right?
it is.
Like
And, me as an alumni and I put a lot
you're
of
like
pressure
you're
on
like
it.
tough love. I don't care.
Tough, yeah, tough love. Let's go. Let's get it going because I think, when it comes down to that, it's like, yeah, we can take baby steps. And I know this is a rebuild year and I support the rebuild year. I mean, hey, Tony Elliott, came in and he's 3-4 right now. We still have more games to go. But I mean, it was more than Mendenhall came in his first year. It's 3-4. We were 2-10. So at least it's one game better. So that's the baby step right there. It's one game better.
And they
But
still
now
have
when we,
5 more to go.
that's what I'm saying. And so now when we get there, it's like, we gotta rip this little band-aid off and
Yeah.
we gotta go. It's not like, this is really gonna determine the rest, like not even say like, the rest of the games are gonna determine how we identify ourselves is because I mean Miami comes in next week. They took a loss, and so to Duke. And so it's like, okay, Miami's not good.
Turning. This is the turning point for
It
sure.
is. And I believe it's let's rip the band-aid off. There's no more like, how your parents are like, let's get them to walk it. No, let stand them up. He's either gonna walk or they're gonna fall. How do you want to be? And that's what it comes down to. And like we talked about last episode, is like if you get punched in the mouth, are you gonna fall or you gonna fight back? Now it's time to fight back at this rate. And we gotta show that. Like I give them credit. We won the game. I'm happy of those guys. I'm proud of those guys. But now it's time to go. It's you got that taste of winning. Let's go. Let's keep it going now.
And that's what Brennan Armstrong said after the game. He said, hopefully, I don't know if hopefully would have been a word I would have chose, but he said, hopefully it catapults us into the rest of the season. And we talked about it a couple episodes ago, I want to say, about his record setting
Yeah.
throw, which
Yeah.
I can't remember what number we were at back then, but he
It
has
was
passed.
yeah, it was like 56, 55 or
Yeah,
something. It was
okay. So he's
high.
at he's
Yeah.
at 57 now. So
57, he's
he
leading. That's
now
good. That's
leads.
huge.
Exactly. So kudos to him. Kudos to the football team for getting a win. I will say to add on to what Quinn is talking about is just it needs to be cleaned up. It's
Yeah.
like everyone is just doing their own thing at different moments of the game, and you're like, yay, and then you're like, what the hell? Like, it's just
It don't make
so much
sense
of
right
a
now.
yes, it's so much of a roller coaster. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of insane. But again, this is a first year under a new head coach.
Uh-huh.
We are a team that is growing, learning, trying to play hard. I will say that they are trying to like play really hard. It gets
Now
them in
they are.
trouble
Now
sometimes. A lot of
now they're now they're playing hard now.
yes,
Now
this game gets them
today.
in
Oh, that
trouble
game.
sometimes.
That game they
That game,
played. That game they played hard.
yes.
They played hard.
Um, but yeah, like I was saying, gets them in trouble sometimes. But this is the time to turn it around. Family
And
weekend
go.
in Charlottesville versus Miami. What are they gonna have to do?
We have to play hard nosed football. And we're gonna have to play like we never played before. Because Miami's coming off of a loss to Duke. They're not playing so well either over there. And so,
And they are prone to turning over. They can be turned over pretty well. So if our
yeah,
defense, I think they had 8 in their game against Duke, 8
yeah,
turnovers. So if our defense can bring just an ounce of what they brought for Georgia Tech
that's it.
plus some,
That's it. But
Can cause
even
some
that,
trouble.
it's just we have to play on offense. Like as a defense, a defensive player as myself, we only can stop but so many touchdowns. I
Yes.
mean, the other team is on scholarship. The other team is there for a reason. And so we as a defense, keep balling, keep playing hard. It's going to be tough, but you gotta limit points. I mean, we've been doing that, which is good, but we just got to continue to limit points. But now when we get to offense, we got to play offense. We
Yes.
have to score. Like we were in the red zone. I can't even think how many
Mhm.
times we were in the red zone last game, and I don't even want to count because it was disgusting.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we got to score for one. And then on top of that, our kicking game has to get
Has
better.
to improve.
It has to get better. Like I get it, it's just your job. You make field goals. Like, I'm not blaming you for anything,
But
but
everyone has a job and everyone's job is
everyone
equally
has a
important.
job and you have to execute your job at the highest ability no matter what.
Virginia's win over Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech was the first since 2008. So there are a lot of good things about this win that I think that
That's
they need to
good.
hold on
Yeah.
to go back home because like we said they have 5 games left of their season. 4 of
Yeah.
those 5 games are at home. They are not proud of the way that they played against Louisville. Nobody is proud about that game. So they have 4 chances
Yeah.
to really put on a show and just
Mhm.
dominate and have crazy experiences in Scott. Like, man, there have been so many great experiences, like as a fan in
Yeah.
Scott Stadium when y'all are like clicking
Yeah. It's fun. Like it
that
can
they
be
have not been
serious.
able to experience yet under Coach Elliott. And you don't want to wait until his second year. I mean, you can wait until his second year
No,
too, but
you
you
don't
don't
want
want to do that. Like, you don't want this entire season to go by and not have an amazing winning experience in Scott Stadium with those amazing fans. You don't.
you don't because it's just at the end of the day, like going back to like the Minute Hall like era. I know I played 2 years, but I played 2 years from like London,
Mm-hmm.
in that staff, and so
Ooh,
like,
give me
yeah, we were
chills.
good on offense, but like our defense had the identity. Like my first 2 years, we were a top 10 defense. Like we were balling on defense. Our offense, yeah, we couldn't get the weapons we needed to score, which is okay. Like, whatever. We get to the the next 2 years. My junior year, we go 2-10. But I promise you, they feared us as a defense because we was playing from the first quarter to after the game. We were ready to fight somebody.
Yeah.
And like those memories there is what we need to be like. I think it's too calm. It's
Yeah.
like we're too calm now. Like we're
But
too like
it's the football team's job to get people amped up, right? Because if it wasn't for what y'all were doing out in the field and what you even it didn't even always turn into wins. Like some of the hardest fought games didn't turn into wins during those, especially during those last 2 years, right? So
yeah.
it's like give the fans something to go crazy about because when you do, they will not stop going crazy every
Oh, they
single
weren't.
week.
They weren't at all. And I promise you, they loved me because they knew what I was gonna bring. Like, I was gonna turn up, and I don't care if we losing. I'm gonna
Yeah.
let you know I'm there, and I'm still fighting. But
Yeah.
we're gonna see next weekend. Well, this weekend coming up, and I'm excited to be there back
Yeah.
at Scott Stadium. Haven't been there all season. So I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna watch it, have fun.
Lit. It's lit.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Well,
get
well, we
ready.
got to get into this interview, right? Because you talked to the Olamide Zaccheaus
Yes, we did.
of
Yes, we
the
did.
Atlanta Falcons, former
Hmm.
University of Virginia wide receiver. How'd that go?
It was great. And I think you're gonna learn a lot. Everyone knows O doesn't speak a lot, but he's really like a brother to me. We've always joked around, talked, but he's done my other podcast too as well, that I have on my own. But it's just good to see, people still grinding, still shining, and just getting the light of just understanding how it is in the NFL. Just
Yeah.
understand it's still a grind. Like no matter what, like yeah, you made it. Like he's going on his fourth season. And so that's kudos to him. But it's
Yeah.
still a grind. Like people don't understand that. People just think, oh, you once you get past like year one, it's just like, oh, I don't really gotta work. Like no, you gotta work.
No.
It's a dog fight every day. And so talking to him was great. And, I'm just glad that, he was able to do it. And, he always comes through for me. So it's always great to have a relationship there with, former athletes. So it was great. So you guys, stay tuned. We're going to get into that interview right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest today, one of our own, our alumni, our brother from another mother. My guy, Olamide Zaccheaus.
My boy, Quin, thank you for having me.
Yes, no, we'd love to have you. We want to just give you your flowers. I know a lot of podcasts are doing it now. We want to give you your flowers for, not only going to a prestigious university, but being able to further your career and playing in the NFL for 4 years now, I think, going on. Yep, going on 4 years now, and it's just a blessing. And we want to give you, your flowers while you're still here and just everything that's going on in your career. But today we just wanted to touch bases with you. We wanted to see how you're doing. Have you been watching UVA football? What's going on in O's world? I will say I do hate how the announcers say your name. Like I get mad every week watching Atlanta play because they don't know how to say your name right still. But
they still fuck it up.
They mess it up. So it's just like it is what it is at this rate. But for starters, of course we've been having a rocky year. But just so far, what are your thoughts on it? Like, how do you feel the season is going, and what are your thoughts on UVA football right now?
So from what I've seen, I haven't watched every game, but I've seen the early ones, and then I watched some of it last night. And I think there's a common theme of what's going on. Is just like self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah.
Self-inflicted wounds. Turnovers. Um, you know, turnovers mainly. Drop passes. Penalties.
Yeah.
Penalties killing us. So I think it's just we gotta lock in on those things, especially when we get in the red zone and stuff. When we're trying to score, we can't be having those mishaps.
Yeah, so it's good that I think that we have an offensive person up here because right now our offense is a little rocky, struggling a little bit. You being in Atlanta, which is ironic, our offensive coordinator was from Atlanta.
Sure.
And so, we've seen what he's done in the NFL, and now we're seeing what he's doing at UVA. But going from just that standpoint, learning that offense from what he was doing in the NFL, now seeing it played out in college. And I mean, I know you guys put up points plenty of times in the NFL. Do you see any similarities from like what he's done in the NFL to college?
Yeah, for sure. When I was watching the game last night, I seen a very similar play. It was like almost the same thing. I said, "Oh, that's that right there." I know that play.
Yeah.
But I know it's different. It's different. It's an NFL offense for sure, and like it takes time to get used to. So there's going to be those growing pains as we have, but I think you just got to keep working them out. Just keep trusting that the coaches have the best interest for the team and the offense. But I definitely know, like, especially at quarterback, it could be a lot at first. But you just gotta keep working through it. Just trust it, and then it'll start to click.
So going from there, and I think this is a good segue to talk about because you played with me my sophomore year, your freshman year, where we had Coach London, a different offense, a different everything, coaching staff, everything, and then we happened to go into the following year with a new coaching staff. Everyone's brand new, and we go 2-10. And I know we still have some games to play left. We have the opportunity to win out. But just what were your thoughts like going through that year of understanding, learning a new system again, even though you just came in from high school, learn a new system. Now you had to learn another new system. And then on top of that, we went 2-10. What was like the mindset behind it? Because I think right now, as we've seen, our offense struggled a little bit that year where, we would show glimpses of, high power, flashy, we're good. But then there was other times like right now and, back in that time too, we just didn't look like we were on one page. So like,
Yeah.
what is the thoughts like, being from kind of like a similar situation, being on offense?
Yeah, like I said, it's just little nuances and things that you have to learn in the offense that you have to get used to. You
Mm-hmm.
know, especially with a new coaching staff, they want things done a certain way.
Yeah.
And especially when you're still learning the offense, you could be thinking about a lot of things. You're thinking about I have to read such and such or defense or whatever, and that can contribute to just thinking too much while you're on the line. It's like, oh, what's the play? Oh, what do I have? And then jump off sides or false start or whatever. So I know it was an adjustment for a lot of people when we were there for sure. So I can imagine what it's like now. For those guys there, like I'm sure it's the same for you on defense too. Like it's a lot of new calls, a lot of new things that you have to that the coaches are asking of you. So it could be tough. It could be tough. It could be tough.
So now transitioning from that, like let's just talk about your NFL career. You've played with some pretty great people over there in Atlanta. So like tell me about your journey. I mean, I know it's been 4 years, but once you kind of pass that third year, threshold, you're kind of considered a vet now. And so
Yeah.
it's like you're one of the vets on the team. So like how has that career been? Like how's the NFL been to you in your career?
It's been grimy, not like grimy in the sense of like kind of like shady, but just like just getting out the mud, man.
Mm.
Like just working for everything, and had a coaching change 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's same thing, learning new offense, learning new terminology, different culture, different system. Like you said before, it's a blessing, man. Like it's something that you can't take for granted. It's something I don't take for granted. But it's been hard, bro. It's been hard. Like, but I love it though. Coach Mendenhall molded us to love the hard thing. So
And
like,
no,
I
that's
embrace
good.
it.
And I think that's very important to a lot of people that don't understand that came from like seeing Mike London, then going to Mendenhall and just seeing that difference and what he instilled in us. I mean, that's all we know. Like I was walking outside the other day. It's like 30 degrees up here where I'm at. Like I'm just like I said, oh, it's cold. Like I can feel it's cold. I walked outside. I'm like, this is nothing. Like and I
Nothing.
was on the phone. They were like, that's nothing. I done been in worse conditions. I'm not even
Icicles,
worried about it.
icicles on the goalpost.
That's
People
and
don't
that's the
remember that.
story I go back to every single time. And I was telling her, I was like, we had an indoor and our doors were still open. So it didn't even matter. Like our doors were open to the indoor. It never made sense to me. But
Ugly.
so with going on that, and like you said, you mentioned that hard work and that, hard things together kind of mentality that was instilled in us. How did UVA kind of play in that? Like, did UVA had to play in like building you as who you are now in your NFL career, or did it not? Like, and this is just we just want the real. We want to give the people the real. Like, if it did, it did. If it did it and did it.
It definitely did. It definitely did. Especially when Coach Mendenhall got there. Like
Yeah.
it's just you just like any. I felt like I can attack anything. Like like bro, it was hard, bro. Every day was hard. So it's just like you said, like your mindset just changed about everything. So like my mindset about everything, I can do anything. I can do anything. I feel like I can do anything, and like it just transitioned not only in football but life and like little things like the weather. Like it's not that cold.
Yeah.
Like it
Not at
might be 30 degrees or whatever, but it's not that cold. Like
all.
I've been in way worse conditions doing way worse things. But like it definitely carries over, Like and you can attest to it too. Like I'm sure, but it definitely it carries over for sure.
So with that, we don't want to keep you too long. I know you're busy. I know you got to prepare for this weekend. Just two. Well, we got one more question. Then I want to do some like little fast round questions with you, just because you know me, I'm always
You
good with
gotta
quarters.
do it. You gotta do
You
it.
know me, I'm good for that. So, me and actually had the opportunity to do one of my own podcasts with QB Knows, and we had a ball doing. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? So
Did I
It's,
win? Oh, did I win
no,
that?
you did
Oh
not
yeah,
win.
yeah, I
No,
lost.
you did not win. Trust me. No one's beat that. But so going like, having a successful 4-year career, at UVA, had the opportunity. Now you're in your 4th year in the NFL, successful, still grinding, still doing what you got to do. What would be like a piece of advice you would give back to UVA as a team, offense or like a receiver group? I mean, you can do whichever one you choose, or defense too. I mean, you run against them every day. So what would be like one piece of advice that you would give them, like through to finish this season strong?
Uh, Adversity is a part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part of the journey, and you kind of have to embrace it. Like, don't shy away from it. Like, we dealt with adversity. In college, like I've dealt with adversity in the NFL, in my regular life. Like it's a part of the journey. That's what makes the success that much meaningful and that much more satisfying. It's like you remember those tough times that you had, and it's like we pushed through that. Like we pushed through that, and we found a way to get through it and get to the point that we are right now. So like that's the biggest thing. Is like adversity is either going to break you or it's going to push you to another place that you've never been in your life, like mentally, physically. So like that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. And that like adversity shouldn't affect how you prepare or how you prepare for each week, your mindset towards each week. Like
Yeah.
it's just gotta be developed. Your will has to be developed. So yeah, like just embrace that. That would be my advice.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Straight like that from Olamide Zaccheaus. But before we go, I have 5 questions, right? And it's rapid questions. So it's like boom,
First
boom,
thing,
boom. Like first thing that comes to your mind,
all right,
let's answer. All right.
all right.
All right. So the first question is texting or talking?
Talking
Okay. What's your favorite day of the week?
Monday.
Monday. What? Okay.
Yeah,
Favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving.
Okay. I got 2 more. Would you rather be able to speak every language or be able to talk to animals?
Speak every language.
Okay, now I think the question everybody wants to know, how long does it take you to get ready on Sundays?
Uh, Dang. Oh my God, like
Mm-hmm.
4 hours.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. But we want to thank you, and give you your flowers. We want to just shine light on, everyone that's came through this program, everyone that's come through UVA. So we definitely want to shine light on you and give you your flowers as well. I mean, you're doing an amazing job, so keep it up.
Wake up every morning with drive. Being on the grind, know I had to survive. We had to win. Started from the dirt and the rubble. I had to be the needle that was popping your bubble, letting the air out. Walking with a clear route. How we gonna rise today?